to hunt, while our genetic makeup, which is a phenotypic manifestation, was not tuned actually for such a disease. And during last century, during this affluence, just because of this irony that we have evolved, but yet we are designed for a different purpose, a different way. So our genetic makeup over centuries, or for over 1,000 years, couldn't cope with this evolved brains designed to lead our lives, which we call today as a lifestyle. Professor Dey is our Professor of Medicine at All India Institute of Medical Sciences. He is also Dean of Research, as well as Chief of Geriatrics. Unique companies with unique inputs. I don't think you will have a better person to brief you about lifestyle. Professor Dey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank Dr. Viswal to give me this opportunity to be here to speak something about lifestyle diseases. As the chairperson introduced me as a person looking after older people. So the focus of the topic, or the bias of the topic, towards the advancing years. Considering the fact that all of us want to live long, and if you live long, you will age. So it's not misplaced to look at something, a topic totally targeting the advancing years. The biologist thought that we should be living between 115 to 125 years. That's the maximum lifespan for human species. There are very few species which have got a higher lifespan than us. Possibly the tortoise have got a longer lifespan, whereas most of the species have less. So if you are living longer, you will have problems and you will be coming to the health system. This is one of our very early publications. We looked at older people or people with advanced age in outpatient setting in All India Institute of Medical Sciences. As you can find from you can see in the graph or the diagram, that most of the bars are related to non-communicable diseases, and hypertension, cataract, osteoarthritis, COPD, coronary artery disease, etc., diabetes, GI diseases, and depression. And if somebody has disease, that will have some disability. So we thought that look at the disabilities, the visual problem, the hearing problem, depression, urinary incontinence. These are some of the problems of disabilities of old age. In ongoing project, we try to see why people come to casualty of AIMS. So we looked at a 1643 strong data. That's a project that just finished. Chronic obstructive lung disease, coronary artery disease, the bar is missing here, cancer, stroke, metabolic encephalopathy. They are the common causes with which people come. The first will be coronary artery disease. Sorry for that. Followed by COPD and cancer, stroke, a little bit of pneumonia and urinary tract infection. A lot of persons not diagnosed. If you look at the causes of death in advancing years, this is Government of India data, all in percentage. In rural India, bronchitis and pneumonia on the background of COPD, ischemic heart disease, stroke, tuberculosis, cancer, anemia. And the other side, the urban India, cardiovascular system disease including stroke, infectious disease, chest disease, cancer, etc. So basically what we are trying to convey that, please note that most common health issues in late life are non-communicable diseases, which are also considered as lifestyle diseases. I will not insult your intelligence by trying to talk a lot about them. You know, all of us in health science know that there is a list of lifestyle diseases that we come across. Some of us suffer from them as well. And the list is increasing with increasing longevity and increasing exposure to various kinds of internal and external insults. The list is increasing. We found this definition from an Indian journal. I thought this is one of the best definition of lifestyle diseases. So lifestyle diseases are those diseases whose occurrence is primarily based on daily habits of people and are a result of an inappropriate relationship of people with their environment. The main factors contributing to lifestyle diseases include bad food habits, physical inactivity, wrong body posture, and disturbed biological clock, with business process outsourcing becoming a major source of our income. The call centers and similar operations take place in the night time because we have to work with the daytime of Western world. So this is one of the major health problem coming for our younger generation in future. So why are we concerned? If we have good life, some concern with some result will be there, as the chairperson mentioned that if you have enjoyed your drink and your chicken, so obviously be prepared to pay a small price for that. Sometime in 1980s, a group of American people from Stanford Medical School looked at the issues involved in longevity and possible solution to not attaining highest length of life. If you look at this graph, the chances of surviving to 100 years and more shows that in last 100 years, not much increase has taken place if you take the proportion of people living to 80s, 90s and 100s. Why is this happening? This is happening because the average length of life, though it has increased from about mid-40s to mid-70s in the last century, the maximum lifespan has not increased. The survival curves, as I have shown, assume an ever more rectangular form. So people are living to 50s very well, but after that things are not going well fine. We also know that because of antibiotics and advances in medical science, 80% of the years of life lost to non-traumatic premature death have been eliminated, and most premature deaths are because of chronic disease now. And data shows that an average lifespan approximately 85 years all over the world, especially the advancing world. We know that Japan, who has got the highest life expectancy, it's about 84 years, and we in India are trying to catch up with that. Of course, in India also we have various populations. In Kerala, the life expectancy is close to that of 75 or so. Whereas if you go to the states like Bihar, Rajasthan, and Uttar Pradesh, it will be something like mid-50s. So longevity, morbidity, and mortality are now a complex situation where chronic disease having its impact. Let's consider people who survived early death during early adulthood will live a longer life. There's nothing new about that. You have to survive the early death to live long. But sooner or later, most people are diseased and disabled. Does it mean that living long is to live in disease and disability? This was the question which was being addressed in 1970s, 80s and 90s, and case control studies and longitudinal studies in previous decades suggest that it is possible to live to old age with good health and functionality. Here I would like to mention about two very important and interesting studies. One was conducted among the students of alumni of University of Pennsylvania, 2,400 odd students who went to University of Pennsylvania during the war years between 1938 and 1940, were picked up sometime in mid-80s. They were at that point of time in the mid-60s and then followed up for next 10 years. Similar, at same point of time, 500 healthy controls, aged about 55 or so, were compared with a similar number of patients who were a member of a runner's club in an American state. Again, they were followed up another 20 years. So at this point of time, we know that obesity, sedentary habit and smoking lead to early death and poor state of health before death. And avoidance of these factors can reduce the disabled years before death significantly. Both these papers have shown that the starting point of disease and disability are much earlier in people who have got these risk factors, but those who are not obese, not smoking, living active life or doing exercise in the runners study have got a later onset of disease and disability, so they live, even if they died, they lived much less years in disease and disability before death. However, in a country like ours and a population like ours in Orissa, say, where people live in poverty and you don't find many people obese, they are working and toiling hard throughout their life. So no question of having a sedentary lifestyle. Of course, smoking is a part of our life. If you look at that, are there other factors which are also affecting to the poor state of health before death? So the same group, this is a group from Stanford, who thought that chronic illnesses may be postponed by a change in lifestyle. It has been shown that in the physiologic and psychologic markers of aging can be modified. Thus, the average life at the first infirmity, average age at the first infirmity can be raised. That means if somebody has to have a heart attack, probably not in early 60, probably in mid 70s. So that's the information that in people who have got who are doing exercise at the runner study, there are 12 years difference between the group who are doing active exercise over the group which was not doing so.